Major League Soccer will never admit this, but there's a low-level club playing in Maryland right now that absolutely frightens them. Their big crowds and robust support shows the MLS's closed system is actually detrimental to soccer stateside. It's proof positive that the MLS is positively holding the sport back. But most important of all, it's a confirmation that what matters is not the league name or owners or players, it's the club and the crest. And this crest just happens to have a blue crab pinching a soccer ball. Annapolis Blues FC are on an extraordinary run of success despite only having been in existence for 3 seasons now, and this run of success is not entirely tied to on-pitch results. The Naptown-based side finished 4th in the Chesapeake Division of the sprawling USL Two setup this season. Shout out Ballard FC and Vermont Green FC who are playing in the championship game this weekend, and if you are watching after that championship game has been played, I guess congrats to the winner.
Ballard FC will make their way to the national final!
As for Annapolis Blues FC, the Crabby Club's first 2 seasons were spent in the National Premier Soccer League, where they finished at the top of their division and advanced to the Super Complex NPSL soccer postseason. The real success of ABFC, which is not an acronym their fans use, but I'm going to use for the sake of this video, is the overwhelming support they have received from the community. In the club's first 2 seasons, every last NPSL attendance record was shattered. There have been 11 7,000 plus gates in the league's history, and all but one took place in Annapolis. What they have accomplished is unheard of. The side's move up to USL Two saw it break the league's single game attendance record with a massive crowd of 12,853 turning up to see them play against Christos FC. That club, by the way, is also a great unique story, supported by Christos Discount Liquors, just your neighborhood local liquor store out by BWI Airport. They've been playing semi-pro soccer for quite some time now. Anyway, as for ABFC, they do have a pretty huge significant advantage, that is playing at Navy Marine Corps Stadium with its 34,000 seats. Sure, Little Rock Rangers plays at War Memorial Stadium, but usually they only get a couple of thousand fans. So just playing games in a large stadium isn't reason enough to explain why such huge crowds are turning up for a NPSL side and now a USL Two side in Maryland. To draw these large crowds for 3 consecutive seasons is also extremely impressive. It would be one thing to have popped a number in year 1 or to get that one large crowd per game each season. What Annapolis Blues FC is doing now is sustained success. This is not a case of a few stragglers randomly showing up to catch a game once and then never returning, or a looky-loo just wanting to see what the fuss is about. This club, Annapolis Blues FC, have built true fans, and quite a few of them. Now, Morning Kickaround has mentioned this could be due in part to the limited number of games ABFC does play each season. And let's be honest, USL Two schedules and NPSL schedules are not the most robust. You get 6, 7, 8 with the playoffs if you're lucky. That is a fair point. The club isn't playing 17 home dates like you would see in the MLS or USL Championship. Then again, maybe having pro teams come to town instead of semi-pro ones would offset that. Also, Morning Kick Around, really good stuff there if you want to get into all of the stories from the American soccer landscape, not just MLS or USL, but from top to bottom. They cover it all. It's far more informative than whatever it is I think I'm doing here, so go check them out. I'll put a link to their channel in the description of this very video. For Annapolis Blues FC, the question has become what's next after this really impressive 3-year run. Should they go pro? Do they need to take more steps forward? If they go professional, of course, they can either move up to USL 1 or maybe they set their sights on the USL Championship. With promotion and relegation possibly becoming a thing, who knows what that pyramid is going to look like in the future anyway. I understand why these conversations about Annapolis Blues FC potentially going professional are taking place. I understand why it is a source of interest in some circles. Personally though, I think you're really burying the lead here big time, might I add. The real story as it relates to ABFC is that they have managed to do the sole thing MLS and its clubs and its owners have spent a decade telling us was impossible. That local clubs in random locations playing outside of the tippy top flight would never work. You have to have big markets with biggish names to be successful in the States. Blah, 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 TV money, blah, 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 market size, blah, 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 soccer specific stadium. The argument of MLS that these are what you need to be the top flight of American soccer, barf. Oddly enough, TV market size, by the way, is irrelevant when you paywall your product on a mid-sized streaming platform. Oh yeah, MLS had the US Soccer Federation conveniently rewrite its regulations on being a Tier 1 league in the States to include streaming, because originally that point in the regulations said TV broadcast. There had to be TV broadcast, and then MLS wants to go to Apple, and all of a sudden it then includes streaming as well. What do you know? The deal would oddly enough go on to be part of ABFC's origin story. DC United play-by-play man Dave Johnson was booted by Apple when they took over MLS's TV. It was an unceremonious move considering Johnson's connections to soccer in this part of the world. I mean, dude was going to Diplomats games way back in the day. However, he would go on to become a minority owner in the Annapolis Blues FC, in addition to still passionately covering DC United. Johnson is very much a class act, a true legend of the DC area. The majority owner of Annapolis Blues FC is Michael Hitchcock, who's not a local, and he's doing something, I don't know what he's up to with his venture of pro rel soccer ventures, just owning a bunch of lower level US soccer clubs. That aside, there are many other local owners for ABFC, including players with ties to Maryland in Alex E. and Kyle Beckerman. It's not just these local owners, it's the local sponsors who support the team, and it is the fans who have decided this nothing team, in, with all due respect to USL Two and the NPSL, what is very much a nothing league, means far more to them than their local club in that big time soccer league. Oh yes, DC United, what was once the standard bearer for American club soccer, were purchased by carpetbaggers in the 2010s and have since been left to wilt on the vine. I'll never forget when Eric Tohier sold some of his interest in DC United to Yo Gotti, of all people. Yo Gotti, whose only connection to DC United was being in Memphis the same time the club's majority owner, Jason Levian, was CEO of the Grizzlies. Seriously, Yo Gotti knew frick all about DC United when he invested in the team, and couldn't even be bothered to do even a smidgen of research before talking to the media about his very exciting purchase.
But why DC United?
DC United, I think culturally, I just like, the whole DMV area. I always like being an entertainer. These were some of my biggest markets and some of my best shows. Some of my best fans come from DC.
Come on, man. All you had to do, the one thing you had to do here, was just name drop Eddie Pope. That would have given you a free pass. It would have shown you at least took the time to do a Google search on this proud MLS side. The only thing worse than Yo Gotti, DC United owner, is probably Yo Gotti rapper. I remember when they desperately tried to make Yo Gotti a thing in like 2009, 2010, but he was the Dollar General version of Young Jeezy. Even the white kids in the suburbs were like, hell no, that guy sucks. Now play Mrs. Officer again, please.
I know you wish your name was Mrs. Calder,
This, by the way, not just a DC United phenomenon. If MLS owners aren't carpetbaggers, they are business bros, foreign tax dodgers, nepo babies, or part of some stupid conglomerate. It's not about soccer, fans, or the community. It's about that dollar bill, y'all.
and one, he got money, he ain't on that group of stuff.
No, Yo Gotti, never, ever. You're terrible. Dollar General, Young Jeezy, I will not back off that claim. Anyway, back to Annapolis Blues FC. There's far more to their story than just a bunch of lapsed DC United fans, or even just strong community supporter, maybe being in the right place at the right time. It's all of those factors, and I think something maybe we'll never fully understand, but this is a club that has surpassed even the wildest of wild expectations for it. No one, not even individuals with the most vivid of imagination, could have foreseen this. Similarly, what the future holds for ABFC is anyone's best guess. They're thinking about going pro, but that takes a new stadium and facilities they don't have. They've started a women's side. With a traditional soccer pyramid in place, this is something that's a little easier to navigate as you move up or down. You know what you need, you know what you can cut. It just makes a little more sense. Even if you don't do everything all of the time, you know what you can prioritize, what you don't need to worry about. And then as you go up, you start investing in those areas. There's just clarity for all parties involved. That is not what we have in America. And you're kind of seeing this right now in the USL and USL One and USL Two. Teams are going up. No one really has an idea of what they need or should expect. It's kind of the wild, wild west. What we do have proof of is that soccer outside of the secured gates of MLS can be successful, and not just one rung in the ladder below. You can go down the ladder and there are still teams capable of being successful. A reality that MLS told us was impossible. The league and its backers insisted that MLS clubs couldn't survive if they weren't guaranteed a place in the top flight always, no matter how little time or effort they put into their clubs. Of course, that argument is not true. It's not easy sledding. There's definitely the potential for financial losses there, but you can still get to break even, or maybe if you're lucky, turn a bit of a profit outside of MLS. It just involves listening to fans, caring about the community, and proving to the public that you are worthy of their investment. How many clubs in MLS can truly say that in 2025? It's not a very long list. And that is why what is happening with the Annapolis Blues FC has to scare those running Major League Soccer. They have proven that it isn't about being in the best league or having the best players. What most American soccer fans want, nay demand at this point, is a club that represents their little slice of the country, from Annapolis to Sacramento, from Portland, Oregon to Portland, Maine, and all points in between. Soccer fans want community clubs. Annapolis Blues FC are great for soccer in America and show MLS, no matter how much it doth protest, it's full of shit. Then again, we already knew that. To me, the real question is who is going to win in an animal logo fight between the Annapolis Blues FC Blue Crab and the Green Turtle. I worry about how exposed his neck is, but can the crab claw extend enough to take advantage? I'm gonna workshop some experiments and I'll get back to you with an answer on that question. In the meantime, thank you for watching this video. If you'd like to know more about the failed San Francisco soccer startup that tried playing in the NASL a few years back, check out the video in the upper left-hand corner of your screen. Until next time, I am Cheyenne Hollis. This is The Touchback, and as always, hashtag take it out to the 25.
Like a cop car.